गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे we are in the verse number 5 where the questions are going to be asked in the 13th chapter of Sri Ramana Gita, and here it was told in the 5th verse, Atmasthitanam narinam asti chet pratibandhakam gruhatyagena hansi tvam kumu swakshastra sammatam. If obstacles confront women that abide in the self, does the Shastra sanction their renouncing the home and becoming ascetics? In our scriptures, this is not the Vedas, not the Upanishads. 13th chapter, 5th verse. There, what is the system? Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. Okay? These 4 stages of life are told. Brahmachari is the student, Grahastha is the family man, Vanaprastha is the seeker, and Sannyas is the renunciate. Now this process is not for a woman, only for man. According to the Puranic Granthas, not Shastras, Puranic Granthas. So in Vedas it is not given anywhere, it is like this. So the question the Vishalakshi is asking through her husband, that is it that if obstacles confront women, in whose life obstacles are not there, and women to have more. I gave you yesterday that lady's Balu Maushi, who was a G to me, she was a grandmother, and how many 15 children, out of it so many died. How many difficulties, cooking every day for such a big litter, but she went through that whole thing and still perfected herself. See? I got her biography. You also got it, I think, when we went there. Women that abide in the self, does the Shastra sanction their renouncing the home and becoming ascetics? So because the Puranic Granthas do not talk about woman, they only talk of Purusha. Again, this is where the problem comes. How do you interpret? Do you interpret Purusha as man? Or Purusha is the principle? When you take Purusha as the principle, as the yes, we are continuously upgrading ourselves, man. She doesn't give up. Continuously reminds. Super Purusha. But it's Prakriti. Prakriti can only go up to a level. What is the maximum level Prakriti can go up to? उल्लू देखा है. The maximum Prakriti can go is dissolution and dissolve into the Purusha. So here is, yesterday I told you, the conscious principle is common, denominator. You are conscious, I am conscious, she is conscious, he is conscious, young is conscious, old is conscious. So consciousness is not separate one per person, but we believe that it is separate. Just like the space is common, but we are staying in that room, house, we are staying in this room, you are staying in that room. So your attention is on, not on space, your attention is on the size, the amenities, the distance, etc. So your attention is on the conditionings. So when you say that I am a Purusha, I am a man, your attention is on your form. Your attention is not on the Purusha principle. But scriptures are not talking to a man or a woman. Which scriptures? When we say scriptures from knowledge point of view, it is only Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads and Brahma Sutra. But when it comes to the Manusmriti and the Puranas, there all these things come, where the man and woman are talked about, but that also in stories, but eventually they are taking you beyond. But many speakers, they are unable to, because they are caught up in families, so they can only talk from their point of view, and because they are able to get large crowd, so that becomes the norm of thinking. So here, this because the women were not, they can go from brahmacharya to grahastha, but after that vanaprastha and sannyas was not given. They didn't fall into that category. Then what did the women do? They stayed with their son, they stayed with their brother, or if they were divorced, they were a pariah of the society. Yeah? But here, so this lady is this wife of Ganpati Muni, she is asking that if a person has known the truth, is committed to the truth, therefore the doubt is therefore expressed as to whether renunciation of home is permissible for women to the question. So what I have explained, Maharishi, because of his steady wisdom, was in a position to interpret the ethical code of conduct, because Ramana Maharishi understand two things. One is, saints and sages do not need to know the scriptures in order to tell what is right and wrong. They don't need to read any books. Why? They are established in the truth, which is the source of the whole creation. So, and who are we who are discussing, arguing, having doubts, debating? Who are we who do not accept ourselves as the infinite principle? We are, it is all borrowed knowledge from books and shastras, scriptures, and that we are interpreting. Mahatmas don't need to. So who are realized masters here? Ramana Maharishi, he is the what do you call
Authority.
the authority. Yes, the authority. And he, whether, and this is what is the beauty of it, when masters like him, when they say something, it is the truth. And many times such masters, you don't know, it's only your trust, that sometimes they say something contrary to the scriptures. Even then it is true, because your interpretation of scriptures as true could be false. But whatever they say, it is never against anti-Vedanta, against anti-all-inclusiveness. Their purpose is only to invoke or bring you to yourself. That's all. So here, Ramana Maharishi, he is the authority. Even though he has never studied the scriptures, he knows the essence of scriptures, that scriptures do not want to discriminate, the scriptures do not have biasness towards man or woman. Scriptures are addressing only the seeker. They are not addressing a husband or wife. They are not addressing a man or a woman. They are not addressing a child or a grown-up. They are not addressing a brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha from knowledge point of view. They are addressing the conscious principle within you, which is forgetting that it is the infinite one. So, and therefore, this Vishalakshi is asking this doubt because she knows she will get a definitive answer. She will not be, you come after some days and or someone is not going to take her for a ride because she trusts. And then next one, Jivantya eva muktaya deha pato bhavedyadi dahanam va samadhirva karyam yuktam anantaram. If a woman liberated while alive, let's read first. If a woman liberated while alive happens to shed her body, what is the proper thing to do, cremation or burial? Why this question? Why this question? If a woman liberated while alive, but where is her attention? Is on the body at the end result. To be buried, who cares? After you die, it's other people's problem. It's not your problem. But, like some of you came with me, we went to Dargah Swami. Dargah Swami, about 15 years ago, he decided he is going to take Sanjeevani Samadhi. And he announced in Kadapa near Tirupati, he announced, I am going to take Sanjeevani Samadhi. And he prepared, the police came. No suicide allowed. And they made sure that he doesn't go there. Similarly, there was one more master, what was his name? That bhajan kirtan goes, no? Ram, 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 Shri Ram, Ram, Ram. Kya naam hai? Haridas Giri Maharaj. Haridas Giri Maharaj from Bangalore. He also announced, I am going to take Jala Samadhi. I am going to... it is not suicide. It is not suicide. It is a recognition that whatever has to be achieved through this vehicle called body has been achieved. Don't you do the same? When your clothes have done, now it's gone out of fashion, what do? Discard.
So, Gnaneshwar Maharaj's parents.
Sant Gnaneshwar Maharaj's parents. And so many. See? Khapoli Baba, Gnaneshwar Maharaj, that Sangdev Maharaj, 1400 years he lived, but eventually he had to give up his body. Before he was living for the body, now then he realized. It took him that many years to realize. But the thing is that, the point is that they have recognized that this body is only a vehicle, it is a temporary. And without body you cannot express. You say, oh, no, ghosts express. Ghost also, people experience ghosts. But do you experience ghost as nothing or with some apparition? You have seen? Saying conclusively, who said? With apparition. Only from photographs. But we are all ghosts, don't forget. We are all ghosts. So, that there also some form is there. So, this body that we have, when a saint, that is her question, that if the person has realized the truth while living, now from the traditional point of view, because she is part of a society at that time in which she is living, what is the norm? When Osho passed away, took Samadhi, he told, don't make my Samadhi. I am merging into the entire. Many Mahatmas do not take, do not want a Samadhi. Normally, for a realized master, there is no cremation. Normally. Then what do? Because the realized master has, while living, merged or with the last breath merged into the Pancha Mahabhutas, the five great elements, his body also becomes divine. And you don't have to take, we were talking yesterday, myself and Dinesh, that if you go to Gondavlekar Maharaj Samadhi, if you go to Chinmayananda Samadhi in Siddhabadi, if you go to Samartha Ramdas Samadhi in Sajjangarh, if you go to Osho Samadhi, so many Mahatmas are there. We went to where Shankaracharya himself meditated in a wave, Adi Shankaracharya, in Joshimath. That was when in 8th century. And that is under lock and key. And we got the key and we all sat down, all 15 of us. And we didn't want to get out of that place. What is there? Only mountain. There is just one jujube tree, one what do you call, shahtoot ka ped, kya bolte hain? Mulberry tree above. Under that this cave is there. Yes, they have put bricks and everything, but we sit there and we are gone. See? So same feeling you get when a master, because his body has become divinized, material has got divinized, matter itself has got divinized, because essentially matter is nothing but the reality which has been crystallized. You don't recognize that. You think matter is separate to spirit. The master is he who recognizes that everything is spirit. Everything is pure consciousness. So for such masters, their body is preserved. It is, before it becomes stiff, they put it into a meditative poise and they, not upside down, head down, no. Not one day the world will turn over and he will wake up. No. They put him straight and they build a samadhi or some monument. Why? Because other people can benefit, and this is experience of many people. There are masters, as I was telling you, Haridas Giri Maharaj, he went to this Koteshwar Mahadev. You have been to Koteshwar Mahadev? Chardham, you came with me or not?
We came.
So we went to Koteshwar, must have gone to Koteshwar Mahadev. That cave where thousands of Shivalingas are there, and the Gangaji comes down and goes and then comes back. You didn't go? No, then you have to go again. Okay. So that place, he came and the word spread and so many hundreds and thousands of devotees came with him. Our Guru Maharaj is going to take Jala Samadhi, and he is absolutely Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He was a devotee, and the police also came. They came to know that this fellow is going to take Jala Samadhi, because from worldly point of view it is a suicide. There is no recognition that life is fulfilled. They only think in their way of thinking. So he was stopped. After 2 years, he did not tell anyone. Came there only with 2 or 3 people. He said no news. Just they out of Google reach for next 3 days. And in those 3 days, he went to this Koteshwar Mahadev, and they all chanted. He chanted the mantra. In that ecstasy, he jumped into the river and went away. Body was also not found. Usually body will come out somewhere. No, body was also not found. Some of you have met Damodaranandji, you have met? Damodarananda was a Swami from Fiji of Ramakrishna Mission. And he came to Melbourne, and he was in Melbourne towards his end of his life. For 3 months he was staying with Jai Shri Amma. And then when he became very sick, then he went to Belur Mutt. First he was in Bangalore, then he went to Belur Mutt, the headquarters of Ramakrishna Mission. And there, one day, he said, oh, it's time. In the middle of the night, 3-4 o'clock in the morning, 91 years old man, went to the Gangaji. No second thoughts. He says, I don't want to be a burden. I want to merge into my dearest Ganga. Gave himself in the Ganga ji. And that's how he went.
Find it good.
No. See? So these are the destinies of such. So this question, and you can see certain masters are people unknowingly or because of the tradition, they don't do what is required to be done. They do burn and they keep the ashes and they pray to that. So here the question is, with regards to women who have come to realize the truth while living, what is their destiny? What is to be done with their body? Is it to be cremated? Is it to be buried? A samadhi has to be made, so that, and samadhi is made not for making them eternal. It is a recognition that they are eternal, so that other people can benefit by the vibration that person who is buried there emanates. So with this thought behind, this question was asked. So now we come to the 7th verse. It says, Prashna, which one we are? 7th, na? Prashnadvayamidam shrutva bhagavan rishi sattamaha avocha nirnayam tatra sarvashastrartha tattvaved. Bhagwan, the great sage, knower of the import of all the scriptures, listened to the two questions and gave his decision. You must have noticed many times. What is that? If you must have noticed here also, and you must have noticed other places also. Someone is asking a question, but in excitement, someone else answers. Isn't it? But who was asking the question to whom? They are left aside. What I know is more important. Isn't it? Our Swamiji tells, and because he spent a lot of time with Akhandanandji Maharaj, and Akhandanandji Maharaj, I met him only once, but I didn't know he was such a great person. This was in early 80s, and we had gone to Birla Mandir in Delhi. I'd gone with my cousins and everything, and parents were also there, and it's a huge complex, and our Hanumanji takes lectures every Navratri there in April. So I went there, and when I went first after a long time with Swamiji, and I said, yeah, I remember this place, and the reason I did not stay there was so many mosquitoes. But this big, huge, humongous person with such a huge tummy, only wearing a towel, lying down on the stage, he's sleeping like this, Ananta Shayana. And people are asking questions, and he's giving lecture, lying down he's giving lecture. Because he had elephantiasis towards later stage in his life. So he couldn't sit. He couldn't even control his defecation. But he was giving lecture. And I'm saying, what is this type of, someone says, oh Mahatma, they are doing namaskar, and I am having, who is this Mahatma lying down? ऐसे कोई Mahatma होता है? Is there a Mahatma like this? Same, see how ignorant I was. Even when I came to Australia, I came in June 2nd. And in July or end of June, I saw the newspaper. Retreat by Swami Chinmayananda. $500 or $600. I said, oh, those Swamis are coming here to make money also. I didn't know who Chinmayananda is, or I had never had any association with any saint. But judgment was like this. This is common, isn't it? Didn't know. I'll be in the same boat after some years. See?
like Swamiji, when I went with Papa Ramdas, he
Huh.
took me and he was Rajan, and I went into the ashram and he was giving a lecture. I was not aware of it.
No, that was not Papa Ramdas. That was Swami. His name was something different.
I
You
couldn't
know.
handle the vibration. I
Yes. Did you come with me that time when he was sitting there and giving darshan to everyone?
And Rajan, they was saying in Rishikesh, I said, I'll come follow you. First time to India. I went in India, couldn't handle the vibration. I felt sick. He was
Papa
like-
Ramdas.
No, no,
So how come in Rishikesh he was there? We all went there.
Yeah, yeah.
This is in Kerala.
No, Rishikesh, the big Swami, Nanda Swami didn't have anything on. And he was sitting.
Oh, yes.
I had to come out.
Yes.
Very ignorant.
This is one Mahatma, I can't remember, his Paramhams something, lives naked. He's a Vedanti. But he was in his 80s, always only lying down naked. Only half an hour he'll come out to give lecture, or people can ask questions. And when people, time ho gaya kya? Swamiji, time ho gaya, or they have to remind him, Swamiji, now it's time. People are waiting outside, they are gathered, only half an hour. He will get out from the bed and start walking. No body identification. People have to go around, Swamiji, wait, and they put a towel around him. He doesn't care. Other people care because they are still identified. But he doesn't care.
When we saw the Swami of same Swami, he was just sitting there. Other people were doing all the things for him. Last stage.
Last stage. He didn't, he was just,
Exactly.
but he was never naked.
No.
But this was a sannyasi. Dargah Swami was married. His wife was also equally great, just like here. So you have to meet, you have to come across, you have to be exposed to different varieties of saints and sages. And you cannot make one opinion that all saints are like this or all sannyasis are like that. Once upon a time, our idea of sannyas was going away from home and becoming, taking renunciation. And one day, just like when I was going, it's not part of this topic, but one day when I went to Himalayas, I went with Swamiji, and I told you many times this story. He was supposed to interview me for acceptance in the Vedanta studies. So I was waiting, 21 days have passed, he is still not, and I was sitting, so he called me, come. Everybody is not giving you any chance, get away everyone. And he told all the brahmacharis to go away. You come. Then made me sit, he was sitting on the window. Tell me. I said, what I have to tell you? You have to tell, you have to ask question, I don't have any question. Whatever question I had, I asked you about 30 days ago. He says, no, you have to interview. He says, no, you have to tell, what you want to tell. I said, if he is telling me I have to tell something, there must be something he knows that I don't know. So I thought, okay. Then immediately, this much I have trained that whatever comes first, I ask. I immediately blurted out. My mom wants me to get married and my heart tells study Vedanta. So what should I do? And he smiled. I said, why is he smiling? I am asking a genuine question. Genuine question. That my mother wants me to get married and my heart wants to study the scriptures. So do you want to become sannyasi after studying? I said, I don't know. But if the desire is there, I will get married. If the desire is not there, I will go the sannyas way. Or I will be a brahmachari. When he asked this question, he didn't answer. He just looked at me. And said, then he didn't even say, then, he said, then if this is the doubt, then what have you thought about it? फिर तुमने क्या सोचा? मैंने तो कभी सोचा ही नहीं. मैं तो I am waiting for answer from you. I have been holding this question for such a long time. Sometimes we get addicted to our questions. We are not ready to look outside through the solution. But when you are in the presence of the master, he just had to ask, so what did what do you think? He was only smiling, and the answer blurted out that after the studies, if the desire is there, I'll get married. If not, I'll wherever life takes me. How does it matter? But that time it was going to an ashram, going into the Himalayas. But now, then after how many? That was in 95. After that, in 2005, myself and Swamiji were walking on the beach in Coffs Harbour, and he says, "What do you think of sannyas?" Suddenly out of the blue, we were both having our lungis up, walking and splashing in the water, and his hand comes on my shoulder. "What do you think of sannyas?" And without thinking, with just the touch itself, you feel, "Hey, Swamiji ne." So I said, no, I should not get emotional. So I said, "Sannyas?" I said, "Sannyas is an attitude. For me, wearing this color or pant or shirt or white clothes or dark clothes or yellow clothes, it does not mean sannyas. It does not mean that I have to be, this is that time, that if I have to be somewhere. People can be away from the family and still be thinking of family, and some people are in the family and they don't think of family, they think of the truth. So who is better sannyasi?" Acha. This was in July, August, when he used to come. Then that same November, I was in India, and he calls, "Brahmachari?" I said, "Yes, Swamiji." "Arey, you came to India and you didn't call me." I said, "Oh, Swamiji, I was in Vrindavan. I'm going with other brahmacharis. We had Banke Vihari Darshan." "Acha, tell me." He didn't tell me I'm giving you sannyas. He says, "Do you like the color which I wear?" "Or do you like a darker shade or a lighter shade? Or do you like peach color or the pink color?" That time he used to wear pink color. "So, do you like that?" I said, it didn't click to me. I said, "Nahi, Swamiji, the pink color suits you." I said, "Pink color suits you. It's more sober, it is not too harsh on the eyes. So it's, and Swamiji, you are very strong," and the feminism comes. He started laughing on the other side. And he says, no, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about you." And then that November he then gave me sannyas. But this is how they test you. See? So just like every one of us has some doubts. Same way, even though she is knowing, she is a great seeker, she's studying has been in the presence of the master, so must have be at a very exalted stage. But living in the society, sometimes these doubts are there. What should I do and what should I not do, So therefore, she is asking, and Ramana Maharishi, who is here it says, Bhagwan, the great sage, knower of the import of all the scriptures. The import, the essence of all the scriptures, is it in the book? Does the God have to read books to give a judge, tell something, or does he just know it spontaneously? Spontaneously. Same way, the great saints and sages, they don't need to study scriptures. Ramana Maharishi got realized, and then he studied scriptures. Nisargadatta Maharaj never studied scriptures, but scriptures in their own way used to just pour out of his mouth. Never he quoted any shloka, never he quoted Bhagavad Gita, but every word that Nisargadatta Maharaj in Bombay spoke, it was Shastra Sammat. It was talking about the self alone. So self is the all-inclusive principle. All-inclusive, and that is the source of the entire, what is creation? Scriptures are part of creation. And where has creation come from? from that conscious principle, it is its potentiality of that infinite principle. So, masters like Raman Maharishi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, Neem Karoli Baba, Anand Mahima, ignorant, uneducated, only chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, but all the knowledge there. Ammachi also never studied, never went to school, or maybe few years, I think.
What was Sai Babaji?
Sai Baba, he is seventh fail. Seventh or eighth, he used to bunk the school and used to sit on the tree and eat the berries. And people used to take the mickey out of him. So, you cannot judge who is who in their essence. The most stupid person may be a saint. There you go, yeah. So go to mental asylum and check whose feet you can fall at. Many are there because society does not accept. And as in India, it is still accepted. That still the Mahatmya Bhav, the feeling that a mad person may be a Mahatma. If someone comes to know or has some experience, then the word spreads very quickly. But if police find someone like that, they'll put him in the mental asylum. That's what happens here. We don't see the possibility. Now, 8th verse. Swarupe vartamananam pakvanam yoshitamapi nivritatvan nishedhasya hamsi tvam naiva dushyati. In the 8th verse he says, since there is no such prohibition in the Shastra, there is nothing wrong in woman abiding in the self and fully ripe becoming ascetics. This is the conclusion of our Raman Maharishi. That because the vision is that of unity. Vision is not that of separation. Vision is not that which propagates differences. That is the difference between a common man's vision and a saint's vision. So if we are striving to realize, we have to give up all differences. This is what the topic was going on after breakfast. We have to expand. We have to give up the differences. No, but it's default. Then be alert that you do not talk to that which you are attached. Consciously you don't talk about it. Just like Lord Shiva kept the poison here, talking about your family, about your successes, about your body, about your achievements, about your pains, about your relatives. It is poison. Keep it here. Don't let it be thrown out of your throat, out of your mouth. That is the tapasya. Then see how the expansion will not happen. Nobody can stop you from expanding. So, in the 8th verse, he says that so this possibility in our life by man or woman, as much as man can purify himself, woman can also purify. As much as man can control his senses and mind, woman can also control her senses and mind. If man can sit in samadhi, woman can also sit in samadhi. If man can take vows and do tapasyas, woman can also take vows and do tapasyas. So here Ramana Maharishi is saying, if man can come to realize, woman can also come to realize. There is no prohibition. We must not go in that angle of approach, because that is from the incomplete understanding of the scriptures that these type of notions are propagated.
Sorry, but in Catholic religion they stop women from becoming priests.
Priests, yes. Are Baba, In India, the woman could vote from the day we got independence. Australia, the woman could vote only from 1968 onwards. So we are far ahead, don't worry about it. In the Western world, they talk about progress, but they look down because and I'm not making it up, 62 or 68, they allowed women to vote here. So what progress? Where there is a free mindset? In our Sanatan Dharma or here, in India or here? But it's changing everywhere, and we are not here to compare this country or that country. So, as much as man is allowed, that much are the possibilities are in the woman also. And just as man can go into samadhi when he is ripe, a woman can also go into samadhi when she is ripe. Yes, difficulties are there. You look at life of Mirabai. You all heard of Mirabai? She was married. She didn't want to get married. She got married. And within 1 year of her marriage, the husband passed away. And the family, they thought she is the bad luck that came into the life of her husband. Society was like that. And so they made her into a servant. And all she used to, from childhood, her love was for the Krishna, and she had accepted Krishna as her husband. Everything else, I don't care. It's okay. If he has got married to the body. My heart is with Krishna. Totally clear. And when a devotee is ready, whatever the prarabdha she had to go through, destiny was taken her through, suddenly one master was passing by and he was singing the bhajan of the Lord, and he gave her his own tanpura to Mirabai, and she took the tanpura. The first time she played Mere To with her song, she just walked out of the house. Nobody could stop her from that moment onwards. In the society, for a woman, I'm talking so many hundreds of years ago, for a woman to leave home and go by herself on the road, anything can happen. But who was protecting her? The Lord. And became a great saint. So also Janabai, so also Kanho Patra, so also Anand Mahima, Ammachi, Shardama, yesterday we were talking about. And there is no end to all these women saints in India. In spite of such harsh rules of the society, yet they charted out a path for themselves. So are we going to complain about the inequality of the society, or are we in love with the truth? That is the question. When we are in love with the truth, path opens up. Path opens up. But when we are looking at inequalities, I want to become a sannyasi, but the society, husband is not allowing, my children are not allowing, the society is not allowing, the parents are not allowing. And this complaint cannot be just a woman. My complaint was also the same. They want me to get married, but I want to study. This mind could go anyway. Which is the greater duty? The duty to listen to parents or duty to follow my heart? Which is more? Duty is always greater when you are following the higher. So is parent higher or the truth higher? The truth is higher. But if you have a conviction, no, parents are higher, then do it. And you will continue complaining. Or you do it and don't complain, you will be at peace.
So Swami, they always say, "Mai baap ki seva karna."
They taught you in KG 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Did you study that when you did nursing? Did they teach you in nursing 2 plus 2, 4? Did anyone ask and say, no, you will be admitted to nursing only, you tell first. the table of 2. 2 1 the 2, 2 to the 4, 2 to the 6. Now you can do nursing. You only talk about seva of parents. What does it say? Matru devo bhava, pitru devo bhava, guru devo bhava, atithi devo bhava. What about the others? That is your expansion path. First who comes into your life is mother, serve. Then comes your father, serve. Then comes your guru, serve. By serving parents, very rare you will expand. Because me and my parents, that guru teaches you how to detach from everything. He changes your program. अभी आया था ना update. He updates you. He updates you. And what you are able to do then? Atithi devo bhava. That every person who comes into your life, you see divinity in that person. Why? He has brought you to a point where you have recognized that divinity is one without a second. It is not only in father or only in mother. For a child that is okay. That young child of 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, he is not open, but once he turns 6, 7, he is sent to a guru. He is sent to a school teacher. And what teacher is teaching you in Gurukul system? He was taught how to accept the self. Be the self. That is missing in our society. So here, when a seeker is ripe, they go into samadhi, they come to realize, and this is equally applicable for both the men and women. And in this way, Maharishi, his attention is not on the man or woman. His attention is not on Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. His attention is not on Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha or Sannyasi. His attention is on the ripeness of the person. When you are ripe, a person can be ripe. Ramchandra ji was ripe at 16 years of age. Sita, his wife, was ripe when she was 16 years old. Both realized masters married each other. Both realized masters married each other. Therefore the sacrifice, therefore the understanding, the attunement with each other. See? But how many of common people, how many people you know or yourself, have we all come to know the truth and then we have got into the marriage bond? You read some of you were attending Tripura Rahasya. In Tripura Rahasya, the story that is being told to Parshuram, there the story is coming from a king and his wife. That wife is 16-year-old, 15-year-old, and she has already realized herself. She is not interested in marriage, but according to tradition, her hand is given in marriage to this young prince, and this prince only wants wine, woman, and marry. Hamsalekha. And she understands, but what to do? How do I change this? I cannot. One day she's lying in the bed and she's thinking, man, rest of my life, if I have to live like this, I'll go. It's not going to be, something has to change. And she allows him to sleep with her. She allows, because she understands he is in love with the body, not with the spirit that is within. So, if his attraction is the body, so be it. I cannot, that is the duty of a wife in that sense. So she says, how, but she's just there and she's thinking, and then she puts some questions. Now the virus has gone in. And the story begins. And slowly, because for a husband who is elder to accept a 15, 16-year-old as a guru is also very difficult. How many of you accept your young children as your gurus openly? Only in appreciation we may say, but you live like that, touch their feet every day? No, very difficult. Touch your wife's feet. They will not. But in the circles they say, oh, there is equality of man and woman. But when it comes to husband and wife, they are also man and woman. So if she is a goddess and you are the god, then equal love and respect should be there and reverence should be there. If she can touch your feet, you should be also able to touch her feet. Why not? Why the hesitation there? This is the hypocrisy that we live with. That is the societal thing. But then she understands this. She says, I have to teach him without him coming to know that I am teaching. This who can do? Only a master can do. And she begins on the journey and she is patient. And he goes through his process of churning and questioning, and every time he does something, he comes and asks, and someday we will take it again. We had a wonderful time with Swamiji when over how many? 9-10 years every morning when he used to come, 10 years we studied that text.
Around
6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Tripura Rahasya. Tripura Rahasya. There's a very good composition, commentary on it from Ramana Maharishi Ashram, Ramana Ashram.
I have a soft copy. You can see.
You have soft copy? Okay. Huh? No, she needs English here. She has just learned A, E, E, U. She'll be only recognizing these alphabets. Okay, now with the ninth verse, what's the time? ये एक और वर्स करते हैं, then we stop. मुक्तवस्या विषय, क्या मेरे को दिख क्यों नहीं रहा है? मुक्तत्वस्या विशिष्टत्वाद् बोधस्य च वधूरपि जीवन्मुक्ता न दाह्या स्यात् तद्देहो हि सुरालयः. In the ninth verse he says, as in mukti and jnana, mukti means liberation, jnana means self-knowledge. As in mukti and liberation, there is no difference between man and woman. The body of a woman liberated during life is not to be cremated, for it is a temple where divinity is expressing. Do you break down the churches? Do you break down the temples? What is this body? It's not a bhoga vastu. For us, this body is only for copulation. It's only for satisfying our desires. उपमा खाना है, छोले खाने हैं, समोसे खाने हैं, पकोड़े खाने हैं, आज कड़ी. Then, oh, what a wonderful coffee it was. Oh, I want only half a banana or a full banana or a quarter banana. But it's all with respect to the body. When you go to the temple, how much do you offer to the god? You get one wafer. When you go to the temple, you take 1 kg of prasad, give teeny mini bit to him, rest of it you take it back. And who is God? All pervading. His hunger will be more, but you give him only this much. Do you do that with yourself if you are the temple? If this is the temple, if people are offering you food, there's no tomorrow, khao. Be like Seema. Everything comes, nahi chahiye. Lean and mean temple. I'm just joking there. But to recognize that this is a temple, first to make this body into a temple, you have to recognize the God within. But if you are lost in being a husband and a wife and a father and a brother and a sister, a son and whatever roles, you are lost in past and future. Someone asked me about the past, you asked me. So, where is the possibility? It's not that you are going to recognize that this body is a temple. If you are saying that this body is temple, you are on a big, big, big ego trip. Other people have to recognize. Not that you say that this body is a temple. You don't say that I am purified. Other people have to recognize. Then what you have to do? Never these statements must come that I have got purified, that I am very this and I am very pure and I have not attached to anything. These are all statements of ego, arrogance, or pride in the success that you are a great devotee or a great sadhak, seeker. This recognition must come from others, and when they do tell you, give it zero value. Then where should your attention be? Only on the divine. Just like we can live in this space and use this space for satsang. Why you can use this space for satsang? Because it has got a wall and we are protected from the elements outside. If we sit outside, you will be all shivering, isn't it? Similarly, to recognize this truth, at this moment, this is the boundary, and inside it is safe. Outside you cannot, because so much options are there. Inside options become less. And as you go, sift through the options, eventually, as Ramana Maharishi says, find out the source of I thought. So instead of getting lost in the variety, come to the I thought. From the I thought, come to the source of the I thought. Then, he never said that I am Bhagwan. People gave him the name. This author, Ganpati Muni, he gave him the title Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi, and many people opposed it. He says, you may oppose. For me, he is my Bhagwan. He is my God. You may oppose. There are so many people who opposed Jesus also, but those who followed, they said, he is our God. Question of belief, faith. So in this manner, here he says in the 9th verse that then he gives here the story of his mother also. He had left his family when he was 16 years old. Who? Ramana Maharishi. He had gone to Arunachala and he meditated there for so many years, first in the temple, then went to the cave, in Virupaksha cave, he stayed there, and there he was discovered by Ganpati Muni. And having been discovered, then he brought him down and where the present ashram is. And throughout that period when he was in the cave, one woman living nearby, she used to bring some food every day and give him and feed him. He was not even interested in eating, but she will feed him like a mother. So who became a greater mother? His own mother or this mother who accepted him as a seeker, as a great yogi or a saint? And what is his mother? A useless fellow, left away, didn't even take care of me in my old age and left away at 16 years old. What was the point of giving? She did not say all this, but many mothers may be speaking in that manner. Those thoughts may have passed through their mind. What was the point of giving birth to this type of child? But in the end, his mother also came and stayed with him. His brothers also came and stayed with him. And we say it is Ramana ashram, but from Ramana, he never says it is my ashram. People built the ashram around him, but he never said it is my ashram. And as his mother, before his mother took samadhi, he one time she was sick, and at that time he nursed her, and through that nursing, on one particular day, he put his one hand on her heart and one hand on her head, and stayed that way for the whole day. And that day, the knot of her heart broke. By his help. She must be available also. That's why. But that day, something shifted within her. And this he did with the cow also. This he did with the dog also. In the ashram. See? So, Because she had realized herself while living. Raman Maharishi did not cremate her. He himself made sure that she is, the samadhi is built, she is buried in that position, lotus position, and the body goes into the. And till today, from that day onwards, till today, from the day she breathed her last, from that day till today, every day the lamp is lighted and people come and pray. See? Why do people go for, to the various samadhi places of Akkalkot, the Gondavlekar Maharaj Samadhi, or Samartha Ramdas Swami Samadhi, now Darga Swami Samadhi, or Swami Aurobindo, his Samadhi? Why do people go there? Because something is attracting them. They have experienced something when they are in the presence of that particular spot where the body is buried. And that brings them again and again to that place. And that's what people have experienced with regards to the mother of Raman Maharishi also.
Even in Sringeri, they got all the samadhis next to each other. Or Jagadguru's samadhis are there next to each other in Sringeri.
Yes. No, here we are talking about women. Yes. For male samadhis you see many. We are talking about female. So here the point we are making, yes, Ramana Maharishi's brothers also samadhis are there, but first was mother samadhi. And from that time, so he has shown it through example that women are qualified for realization, contrary to certain scriptures or certain compositions where, or societal beliefs that woman cannot come to realize. In every society it is like that, okay? Jesus also had only male apostles, no female. So we'll stop here and we'll look at it from the 10th verse onwards. Oh, it's only 2 verses. Okay, next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a few moments. Hari Om. Now